242. We're in the Ramah, page 242 in the Ramah. David, you could ask this person to come if he wants to come to the table. You can invite him. Just pray. Okay. Let's get back to the Ramah. If initially the esrog was dry or spotted, Shaposu kol shiva, yomim. According to the Ramah, which is the position of the Rosh, Hider is different than all the other validations. So therefore it's posul, even the days that are only rabbinical. Afim chotach hayeveshu so animor, even if he would cut away the dryness, or he would remove the spots, posul kol shiva, still posul. Why? Hoel bo mikoch psul, because initially it was posul. Because initially the classification is it's not hodder, because it's not hodder. Okay, let's see the Mishna Berura on that. That's where we're at. Achi Yosir Lamed Zayin. Ulachi beklin and kan the Medina who bechlal chosiv chos kosh b'shayom Iraq l'chatchil machmarin kan mishum demois. We're talking about by where a rodent bit into the esrog. Al kain. So over there, if you cut away the location where the rodent bit into the esrog, it's valid, because what's the invalidation? It's not lacking in hodor. It's just something which is disgusting. So you cut away that, so therefore it's reinstated. But if it's spotted or it's dry, the medina posel mishum hodor. So what's the classification of the esrog? It's lacking in hodor. Loch ein moel tikun, so it's not correctable. Mishum debo mikoch psul. Because you're trying to take something which is posul and make it kosher. It's not. Ho bo bikoch psul. Ein biragrosh mitzadid lomar. The Viragor says, Lefima sheposke mechaber leo sim tov reish memches if you dalit. Dem also lo chazozit so shu menumra vikilfo. We had earlier. If you had some type of growth on it, adhesion or a spotted, then you go and you peel the esrog. Remember we spoke about earlier. There's like we're not talking about you peeled off the skin, but there's like a coating, which is like a veneer on it, and that you remove. That's not called chaser. It's like cellophane. It's a veneer, because that's not the essence. That's like a covering on the esrog. Im chos lemar esrog kosher. He's asking a phenomenal question. He said earlier that if on the outer part of the esrog you have spots and you remove the veneer, the mechaber rules early it's kosher. It's valid, even where it's spotted. So the difficulty is, but if it's spotted, that's a basis to invalidate it. So you see over there that even though initially it was posul, and what was the deficiency hodor, that if you reinstate it, it's valid. Mukach de polig, alzer. So the Vilna Gaon points out it seems to be that what, right? That he's arguing. So it seems that Mechaber is arguing with the Ramah. The Mechaber rules earlier that if it's spotted and you remove the veneer and you remove the spots, the esrog is valid. And here the Ramah says no, that if the invalidation is in hodor, it cannot be reinstated. Therefore, he says, based on the Mechaber, he says, we don't rule like the Ramah. You have a right to be lenient that if you take off the spots, the esrog could be reinstated, even if originally the invalidation was hodor, because that's what you see from the halacha earlier. Miachar, the sos Mechaber that's a ram v'siyoso, chal apsul mishum mumin, the kol bazeh bein shapsul mishchasu mishum hodor, yom tesheni, kolu bazeh af yovish o menumer time mishum hodor, af lochotach, al kalponim. He says, even though the Mechaber says spotted, even if the spots are there on the subsequent days, it's valid. Right? That's the Psak of the Mechaber. A spotted esrog is kosher beyond the first day. Ramah argues. But he says, in regard to removing it, even though we don't rule like the Mechaber if the spots are there, but if they're removed, that we do rule like the Mechaber, that once it regains its profile of hodor, it's considered hodor. Even though initially it was not hodor. That's the way he's ruling. One second. Ponim ein lo lachem b'chotach. U'makom atchach. He says, if you have no choice, bevada yesh lismoch al zeh. Vayim b'di evidence. So you could even say a bruch, everything. Comes out a tremendous, it's tremendous value, what he's saying here. According to Ramah, something is dry. When the dryness is there, it's possible. No. La halacha. We rule like the Ramah, that if there's that the psul of Hadar applies all throughout the days. Now we have a new discussion. That's the Ramah's position. So there are two arguments. The Mechaber rules like the Rambam that Hadar doesn't apply to the subsequent days. None of the psulim apply. Ramah says the Rosh says they do apply. Hadar does apply. Hadar does apply. Okay, that's the Rosh. The Rosh doesn't discuss the case. If initially it wasn't Hadar and now you correct it and reinstate the Hadar, is it valid? The Rosh doesn't discuss that. That's the Ramah. So the Vilna Gaon, all these other people say, in regard to that, we don't rule like the Ramah. In regard to the Rosh, we do rule like the Rosh. Hadar applies throughout the 7 days, although the other invalidations don't. Okay? But in terms of, if it's corrected, in that regard, we don't rule like the Ramah. So if you have a dry piece, part of the esrog, which causes not to be Hadar, and you cut it away, and now it looks as if it's Hadar, it's kosher. Even to say a bracha. No. The first day, if you cut away any part of it, it's possible. It's chaser. We're talking about the subsequent days, which are only rabbinical. No, what about we're speaking here? If you have no choice, you have no alternative. Yeah. No, but we're talking about if the other one, look, if it's less Hadar, it's not a problem. At least it makes the grade of Hadar. Let's say you have a hesrog cut in half, or you have a hesrog which is full. And the half is more beautiful than the whole. Of course you use the whole, use the shalim. Not even a question. That's the Ramah. And that's the Rosh. That's the Rosh. The Rosh says a spotted esrog, even on the 6th day, you cannot use. It's irrelevant. Still you can't use it. It's not Hadar any longer. Right? Chazal already classified. Spotted is a lack of Hadar. They said it's well, I consider it beautiful. You know, it's like you see some kids, they're as ugly as what? For the parent, it's a beautiful child. But everybody says it's an ugly child. It's irrelevant what you say. Chazal say menumar is lacking in Hadar. Well, to me, I think it's beautiful. Okay, it's irrelevant what you think. They've already classified it's as that's lack of Hadar. It depends where the spot is. We discussed this. If the spot is on the nodule, then that's not. Well, I won't look there. I'll look on the bottom. Okay, it's irrelevant where you're going to look. The fact is, what is it? It's not Hadar.
So practically, in this situation, we follow the Mechaber and others.
No, we're not following the Mechaber. Mechaber does not discuss this case. The Mechaber does not discuss this case. Mechaber says Hadar has no application beyond the first day. The Rosh says it does. We rule like the Rosh. Now the Ramah introduces a new issue. What happens if you make a correction where initially it wasn't Hadar and now it's Hadar? That's now the Ramah's talking. Right. That's not the Rosh, that's not the Rambam. So the Ramah rules, it's not valid.
And we don't pass them like Ramah.
That's what he says. Lachatchila, we follow Ramah. But if you have no alternative, we don't follow the Ramah. We'll make them. That's not unusual. It's not unusual. Unless there are reasons not to follow the Ramah.
So we could have, an esrog that we're following from up apart and following.
No, because we're following the Rosh. The Rosh doesn't discuss if you corrected the issue of Hadar, is it valid? The Rosh doesn't discuss that. That's the Ramah's understanding of the Rosh. Okay? Okay, back to the Ramah. Umuta l'chatchil lahasnos as esrog sheyel kula yom rishon ve'ino boldo bimenu kol bein hashmoshes shalel sheni ve'elech. Now, we have a principle. We spoke earlier, nois sukkah. right? The decorations of a sukkah that are designated to beautify the sukkah. Throughout the 7 days, you're not permitted to use those. I mean, it's not muktzah in terms of touching it. Cholamoid muktzah doesn't apply. You have an apple, you decorate it with different fruits. Now you want to take one of those fruits and eat the fruit on Cholamoid. You're not permitted. Why? Because it was designated for 7 days. It's for the beautification of the sukkah. So, rabbinically, you're not permitted. You're not permitted to use it. So, wait a minute, that's called huktzah mitzvah. It was designated for the mitzvah. So let's say you have an esrog. The Gemara speaks, you have 7 esrogim. Every day the person designates 1 esrog per day. And the person says, and you have a 2-day Yom Tov, and he says, this esrog is only to be used the first day, but when it comes, the day's over, I want to eat this esrog. Is he permitted to eat esrog? He's permitted to eat esrog. Because initially, but let's say he says he designates, this is my esrog for Yom Tov. And his wife wants to make marmalade on Cholamoid. Let's say the esrog becomes posel. Becomes posel. Could you make marmalade and esrog on Cholamoid? You can't. Because that initially that esrog was designated for the mitzvah. Even though now you can't use it, it doesn't make a difference any longer. Because it's already was hooked to the mitzvah.
So for 1 day, if you designated esrog for 1 day, she couldn't make
She can make marmalade on Cholamoid. Okay, if you like it.
When they say there's decoration, say, I just want to get the first 2 days of Yom Tov.
There's a difference. There's a difference. The Gemara makes a difference. You have to say, I'm decorating, but I don't want it to assume the kedusha of a sukkah. Once it starts, because see, sukkah, it's 7 days uninterrupted. Lulav, mitzvah of esrog is only day, it's not a night mitzvah. So because it's interrupted, you see each day is a separate day. Sukkah, it's one continuous mitzvah. It starts on the first day, ends after at the end of the 7th day. So once it's in the system, you can't take it out of the system until the Yom Tov's over. Esrog, every day is a separate mitzvah. Because you can't be yotzei the mitzvah of esrog at nighttime. Right? L'kachtem l'chem biyom harishon. It's only a day mitzvah, it's not a night mitzvah. That the Gemara makes this differentiation. Okay? She'ne bol demena kol bein hashvosh shel leil sheni ve'elech. Umuter oz l'chatchil lechel meno miyom sheni ve'elech. You can eat that esrog from the 2nd day onward. V'lotzi stay mitzvah im hanishor. Yeah, what he can do? See, initially, I mean, how does he buy it into the esrog? It's huktzah mitzvah. Let's see the first day. The answer is because since he set it up in the way, he only wants, the first day you need it has to be shalom. Choser is a problem. So he says, you know something? This esrog is designated for the first day. Beyond that, I will not need the whole esrog. I will eat it. So whatever's left, he can be yotzi what's left. You can imagine what's going on. People are at the brink of starvation. Yeah, so he needs that for his, he's going to get rickets otherwise, unless he eats half the esrog. Okay, he has a vitamin C deficiency. Scurvy. I think it's rickets too. Vitamin D. Okay. There were people during the war, they became blind. They had night blindness because they had a vitamin deficiency. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We're going to put the what's his name, the health stools out of business. Just eat your esrogim. Okay. Yeah, but let's see. Hamitzah im anishor elo she'eno no bikim b'tnoim. Kedleo simu sof simin tov reish lamed ches ba'agov. Okay, we'll stop here. Let's see the host.